live. Give it a couple minutes, see if people come in. The number stays at 0. I'll check my other devices. So, just coming on here. The Bengals are getting beat 28-3. So, no sense in watching them. That's one benefit when they do this. They've been losing about every game since they lost Burrow. So, I can take advantage of this time and work on these projects more at the house. So, today I'll be getting into kind of, I would call it more spot sanding, little spots that may need sanded, and then I'll start putting the primer on the walls. So I just was running the air gun, trying to get all the extra dust and debris blown off everything. I may start sneezing here in a minute, so nose is acting up. I'll be glad to get this over with. The house is covered in drywall dust, which I don't know why they keep referring to it as drywall dust. It's more a joint compound dust. I didn't use drywall. These are plaster walls, so that's more what I'm working with. So far, the number is still on 0. Sometimes it takes a minute. So, still in my first week of live streaming, I'll go ahead and share another learning experience. So, I was practicing around last night and I was trying to share some like a football game on my live stream. And I was practicing with maybe a movie clip in case I wanted to like do reviews or show pieces from clips. So as soon as I put that movie on there, practicing around, within a couple minutes said my live stream's been taken down due to copyright. So however they monitor that, they caught that pretty quick. So probably not the best idea to be using OBS and adding movie footage. And I don't know about the football game. I was playing around with that for a little while, but as soon as that movie, yeah, YouTubers, you know, hey, how's it going? So as soon as I put the that movie into the OBS, it kicked me out for copyright. So yeah, good to see ya. Hi, Ankit. Sorry, I'm a little bit bad with the. Oh, I'm working on plaster walls. Been working on them a couple months. I'm about to start primering and painting. So yeah, just chatting a little bit. I'm going to kind of take my time with the painting. My Bengals are getting their butts whipped right now, 28-3. So I thought I'd jump on here and feel free to subscribe. I'm not always doing this. Sometimes I'll get on my weight set and talk to people. I'm trying to also document my weight loss journey. I gain weight pretty easy now, so. Yeah, the live streams are pretty cool. There's all types of stuff going on. This is probably boring for most people. I'm going to get painting. I still have a little bit of sanding to do on this joint compound I put on the wall, so. Okay, UK. I had a friend I used to talk to on a game I used to play from the UK. He was pretty cool. Feel free to subscribe. We can interact sometimes whenever you're scrolling around. Catch me on here. That way I'll notify you when I'm on. It's always good to meet new people. So I'm going to start getting started. I'll keep an eye on the comments. And I'm no professional, but I've got quite a bit of experience. I've pretty much almost redone the whole upstairs at this point. Old 1920s house, brick home with plaster walls. So, do a lot of different do-it-yourself projects. Hi, Dark Shadow. Yeah, you guys seem pretty cool. good to meet you. Not really trying to drum up subscribers, but it's an easy way to get me in your feed more and be able to talk and see some more positive vibe people. So far I've been lucky, I haven't gotten many trolls. I think they know how to pick their targets. I've got better stuff to do than play those games, so they can talk crap if they want. I'm not going to engage and argue. So, yeah, so I'm just mixing up the paint right now. Grab a paint stick and so if anybody's still in here, it's still my first week live streaming. I've been trying to share quite a bit of my experiences so far, what I've learned. I've been playing around with OBS Studio on the laptop also and learning with that. That has some cool features. I think that's what a lot of people's using for their gaming and stuff like that. Look up OBS Studio. So I've got about 50 paint sticks doing all these projects. Normally I clean them up and save them, but I'm just going to get rid of them. Yeah, I'm 44, so life can make you tired sometimes. So, yeah, and plus I've gained quite a bit of weight. I've been on unemployment. I had an interview Friday, so. Yeah, that's what I say, just keep chipping away at it. So the upstairs, I had knocked out a wall for the master bedroom. It was too smaller one, so I had to build a header, and I built a header, and all these walls were god awful. I'm documenting like a walkthrough how to fix plaster walls, so when I wrap that up, people can see all the steps to repair and plaster walls. Yeah, I'm not really tired. It's probably an energy thing. Like I said, I've gained weight, insulin resistance. I don't know how old you are, but if you hit a point in your life where you just can't keep the weight off, and fatigue, low energy, brain fog they call it, so can't really have any carbs. When you do, you'll pack on weight pretty quick. So that's what I've got going on. That's kind of what I want to talk about on my channel too over time. Battling that, I lost 60 pounds last summer, so I'm about to try to dial that back in. I'll probably be on here for a while tonight, just taking my time. It's about 6 in the evening where I'm at. Okay, I'm in Ohio. So, yeah, once I hit 40, I don't know, how old are you, Dark Shadow? Once I hit 40, it's not really a myth. My metabolism changed quite a bit. So, looks like we've got a spammer. I don't really block people for the, I don't really block people for trolling and talking crap, but I will do the timeout for spamming the chat. I'll just give them a... Oh, you guys are pretty young. Yeah, take that as a warning for years down the road. I just turned 44. I was in pretty good shape, especially through my 20s. Worked out a lot and played sports in school. So, yeah, the 40s, not a myth. People will warn you, your body starts to change, and definitely does. So I'll have to reposition the camera here in a minute. Getting this roller. So a fresh roller, a lot of times I like to put tape over it, because if not, you'll get you'll get a lot of fuzzies. So, not a good look when you go to put the paint on the wall and you can see fuzzies and hairs and stuff. That helps get rid of that extra. It's an easy, quick little tip. I'll just be taking my time because I do have to fit in some sanding. And I'm going to take this camera to the other side of the room. That's where I'm going. Yeah, it's still my first week live streaming, so just getting a lot of practice at this point. Yeah, that's a good point, Dark Shadow. I've always kind of been like that. Even when I was young, I hung out with my grandma quite a bit. Spent the night with her, and even now, really my dad. He's one of the only people I talk to and hang out with, and he's older. I've always been the same too. Can learn from everybody, but I always gravitate to the little bit older and wiser ones. They've usually learned the hard way on a lot of stuff in life and give you more valuable sound advice. Especially like at work, you start hanging around with the people been there 15, 20 years. And they might be set in their ways, but you can learn quite a bit from them. So I like to use a light to make sure there's no, yeah, like right here, we've got little stuff still going to need sanded quite a bit down. Little imperfections. So if you ever ended up in an old plaster home house, you'll be seeing what this consists of. I started this in July, and I've been doing a couple hours almost every day. So yeah, just smooth it out some. Want a nice smooth wall. If you guys bail out, I don't blame you. Let's get to meet you guys. I can't keep looking at the chat. I'll try to check here and there. I'll keep an eye on the chat here and there. I wish there was a better way to see the comments while I work. I mean, if I move the camera right up on me, you're not going to see anything going on here. So this is a bit daunting because what you'll get dust accumulating as you sand, and you don't want to paint through that. So you got to keep blowing it off. And it circulates through the whole house. It travels. So all downstairs is dusty. I'll try not to run the air compressor a whole lot because when it refills, it is loud. So I like this this little wolf box. This little wolf box, it's an air gun, and it's got a turbine in the back, so it's pretty cool. But it runs the battery down pretty quick. I'm reading your comment, Dark Shadow. Thanks for the support. Yeah, now, so I try to keep a better energy when I do my exercises. So like today, I got up and I went for a run and did jump rope and did pull-ups outside. So appreciate it, YouTubers. I really do appreciate the positive vibes. Pretty cool to meet, especially younger people. Got a good head on their shoulders. And see, so right now there's build-up little spots of dust. So knocking it off there. I'll just kind of paint as I go. I really don't have a whole lot going on this evening. just talking. Yep, exactly. That's why I like that Team Jesus concept. And I tell people too, I'll be like, I'll tell people, yeah, I'm responding Dark Shadow. Dark Shadow said we're all brothers and sisters of Christ. Yeah, so I'll tell people, call them brother or something. Some will think it's more hip hop related, or, call them bro. But for me, it's brother in Christ. A lot of times I do say brother, and that's what I'm referring to, so I like it that you said that. I'm just eyeballing it pretty hard right now. I spent a lot of time up here sanding. I don't want to put paint over. So the primer and a couple coats of paint will hide a lot, but I don't want little rivets and stuff like that. Try to keep it smooth and looking good. It's easy to get lazy or in a hurry, and then down the road you'll know. Nobody else will probably even notice it, but you'll always know. You take pride in your work. You'll go to walk by, this being by the doorway, you'll go to walk by and your eye will always notice. I call it backtracking. I try to get it down now so I don't have to keep backtracking. Yeah, this tool's pretty cool. I use it quite a bit actually. Even dusting around the house, it's great for that. Not cheap. I think it was about $70 US on Amazon. So I think that looks pretty good. Get the paint in there now. Primer will help hide quite a bit, but not everything. So I got my paint going here. Yeah, it sucks. Sometimes war may be necessary. I guess if God feels like it is but for the most part, I try to preach love and serve a God of love. And so what I like to do here, I don't know, you guys are kind of young, I don't know. I mean, you're not super young, but to me, early 20s, I don't know how much painting experience you have, but a helpful tip is a lot of times that brush will leave streaks. And I've got a sharp eye for it now, so I'll go in places and I'll see what I'm about to describe. So some people will they'll run that brush and they'll cut in around the outside, and then they'll take their roller and they'll just roll in, and then when it dries you see streaks around the whole outline of a room. And they'll use the 9-inch roller. They'll use the 9-inch. So they're not using this little, I think that's like a 3.5, and I love it. So what they'll do, they'll cut in the outline with the brush, and then they'll hurry up and just try to roll everything with the 9-inch. I'll use it on the bigger areas, but for the most part, I'll use this little, I think it's a 3.5 inch. So I'll just go ahead and start working it in. Like that. That eliminates the streaks, and it gets to the corner pretty good also. You gotta be careful. All this joint compound on the wall, it saturates the mud and it'll make it almost wet again. So you don't wanna, once you do it, you gotta kind of leave it until it's painted. In other coats, it doesn't matter. But like right now, if I waited 3 or 4 minutes and I go back over this again, it'll rip that joint compound away from the wall, and then it looks like crap at that point. So real quick, I'm going to go ahead and cover this area. You can always go back and fix little spots too, but it turns into more work. It's why have to rework stuff and redo it. You don't have to. You can catch it. Be thorough the first time coming through. So this thing, pretty great. Problem is, I think I used an older one. It's not wanting to spin right now. So yeah, it's getting hung up. Actually, there we go. Yeah, they don't like it when you, I try to keep them good and clean so that don't happen. I always keep extra rags around and water. I got a little bucket over here with water I can dip my hand in. And, so get rid of those paintbrush streaks right now as I go. If anything, pick up some helpful little tips, and hopefully if you guys subscribe, we'll be on a better speaking terms when I'm hanging out doing my weights and stuff like that. Hey Mike, good to see you. Yeah, right now, Mike, I'm just starting to get the primer on the walls. And thanks for the compliment. I'm being a good teacher. I've trained people at work, and I try to be a good teacher. Some things I've had to find out the hard way in life. And some people are gatekeepers. They want to keep all the knowledge for themselves or have big egos and find a way to look down on people because they know something somebody else doesn't. That's not my style at all. So what I'm seeing down here, I like to keep this DeWalt light with me to check for the imperfections. What I'm seeing now is a couple spots that need quick little hit. Make sure not to get this dust into the paint I got down here. So trying to get sharp into the corner. So this is a sanding sponge. I don't know if you've seen these type, but it's angled, so it's perfect to get down into the corner. That's a real soft grit, so it's not carving up the mud and causing problems like that. Right now, I'm just going to get the majority of these walls covered. And then it'll be easier to get a better look at what I'm looking at for the next stages. And again, I'm going to hit it with that air, but I want to go make sure it doesn't get back in the paint on the wall. This dust is awful. Another reason I like this over the air compressor, because that air compressor will sling out some major air. You can't really control where you're directing the dust when you blow it off of there. Not all these walls are this bad. This was a bad section I had to fix. So there's that. I don't want to go back over much of this. I'll let the primer do its job in that section. And that's good for one coat as far as that little area goes. So I'm going to try to I wish you could zoom these short, but you can't. Well, Mike, if you're still in here, I'm just primering. First coat of primer on these joint compound, so it's tedious. Oh yeah, I've got a family. My mom died. Mike's asking if I have family. Mom died about 10 years ago, but yeah, I still have family. I don't have kids or anything like that running around, but once again, just taking my time inspecting with this light. It's actually best to get the ceiling done first in this stage because I don't want to be sanding and having this stuff fall down on the walls in wet paint. So I think I'll probably go ahead and start getting into the ceiling. Try to keep it where you can see. Yeah, thanks. It was unfortunate. I was at work the night I got the call. She had seen cardiac arrest, so didn't really have a chance to see her one last time or any of that. It was unexpected. So I'm sorry to hear that, Mike and Dark Shadow. Yeah, it never really gets easier either. I'm sorry. Sorry you guys suffered that fate too already. I don't know how old you are. How old are you, Mike? Pretty young, Dark Shadow. I feel for you on that, man. Dang. Yeah, that's tough. That's tough, Dark Shadow. Yeah, it never really gets easier either if you had a good connection with them. People say time heals all wounds. I'd say from experience, if you have a heart and soul and empathy high in the empathy, I disagree that it gets easier because if anything, I have more memories come back over time. Stuff I may have kind of completely forgot about, something triggers a memory. And it can be pretty tough. And pray on it and pray for them. Hopefully they're in a lot better place. And however all that works right now. Go ahead and hit this little section here. Primer is pretty good at concealing if it isn't 100% perfect. So I'm still sticking to the outline for the most part. I did a pretty good job because I know the problem it'll be if I didn't set myself up good for this stage. Yep, Dark Shadow says we all will die one day, but I want to live a decently good and peaceful life. That's a pretty good goal, man. Especially with the peace. This world will try to steal it from you. And some people want to bring you to their level. I'm just going ahead and cutting both sides of this inside corner right now because it all looks pretty good, although I do see a spot right here I'm going to have to hit with the sand real quick. I got to be careful because I don't want that getting in this wet paint. Yeah, that's the best way to be, dark shadow. Just sometimes you gotta cast it over to the Lord. Not let it consume your energy. And a lot of energy vampires out there, they want to steal your peace and energy. And it happens if you're not aware of what's going on. Once you realize how spiritual it all is, I'd say a lot of it gets quite a bit easier. I really got to take my time. This isn't a quick process right here. You got to keep stopping and sanding. I'd rather do it right instead of slop through it and trying to sand away from the wet paint. A lot of it's going to look pretty good, it looks like. And really, nobody's probably going to notice the stuff I'm talking about now. It's so minute. But I wouldn't really say I'm alone. I've got friends and family and stuff in the area. So I'm not completely living that type of life where I'm completely alone and out of touch with others, plus work and stuff like that's a good place to interact with people. As far as the females, I've got a few friends I talk to also, but nothing serious at this point, so. It's actually pretty peaceful. He was talking about peace, and at this stage of my life, it's pretty peaceful actually. Some people, they want you to perform at all times, don't act or say the right words, and they're looking you over and thinking they're somehow better in their mind. Maybe they are, and I don't view it like that though. So everybody's got their strengths and flaws. Just carving out this, or sanding out this corner a little bit, getting it a little bit tighter. See little sanding streaks from the screen that I used. That's why it's best to work high and work your way down. All this stuff falls. There we go. That's a better angle. Sorry about that. Sorry to hear that, Mike. It's tough for a lot of people with financial problems. I don't know your situation, but sorry to hear that. Pray on it and pray for abundance and God to help direct your path. Gets tricky. You don't want to switch over to the dark side and be led by demonic forces for the driving money. I feel like what I've seen over the years is start living good for God and God's ways. He's going to take care of his children. Amen. Let you suffer. Put you in a little period for a while, waiting room or, isolation or something like that to kind of give you a tune-up, get you on a better path in life. Sometimes that's what it takes to get away from the worldly stuff. It's always a war against the flesh in my perception of it all. I really appreciate the positive comments, guys. Sorry I can't just drop this and just totally engage. I'm excited to get through it actually. And have this room looking a little bit nicer. I'm hoping to make it into maybe kind of a little studio area or something. But if you see the pictures of how it was, that was a pretty bad scene. That would have been one of the most depressing studios you'd have ever seen in your life. To be honest about that. So I'll probably have to get this on charge again. It doesn't last long. I really do appreciate you guys stopping and hanging out. I know Sunday you could be doing plenty of other things. So. Oh, you're welcome, Dark Shadow. No problem. Yeah, the new job I'm taking, I don't know how well the overtime's going to be. If I can work plenty of overtime on the business, we'll see down the road. I'm not out to be driven by greed and money and stuff like that, so whatever God's plan is for me, I'm along for the journey. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and work down this corner over here and then hopefully go ahead and wipe out this whole wall over here. Looking pretty good. You do lose quite a bit of time, even when I do footage for videos, trying to capture the footage, stuff to think about, like stopping and reading messages. I don't mind, but you know, if I was just prioritizing nothing but this wall right now, I'm not even caring, I'd be probably moving quite a bit quicker. But I'm okay with that. Yeah, right now I'm just touching up spots over here. So what you guys like to do for fun? Yeah, you're right. There's well, a couple ways to look at that. Mike says some males act like women. I'm glad you're touching on that subject because some of these live streams I plan to cover some of that. You're right, they do. A couple different factors in my opinion on that. So some of these, there's a pretty heavy push for the feminist movement. Nothing against women and women's rights and all that, but at the same time, social media is giving a pretty hard push for the feminists and trying to emasculate men, and that's factors too. All this boss babe stuff you see. Unhealthy homes, that's another reason why I like to stick to Bible principles on marriage and love, becoming as one. So it's all getting out of sync with God's plans and what you're seeing in the world, because it's cool to be narcissistic and move from one supply to the next. If they don't serve you exactly how they want, they're ready to throw you out like trash for somebody else. Sad scene. So, point with that is, I call them whoops babies. A lot of these women aren't really caring about marriage at all. And they're getting married, or not getting married, but they're getting pregnant and making these babies by accident. I call them whoops babies. And then they're never raising their kid in a healthy, loving environment. They're not even getting married in most of them. I think in America it's pretty low marriage rate. Divorce rate's high, even the ones that get married get divorced. And I'd say social media is quite a bit of a factor, but so that's messing up the dynamic. These men, boys becoming young men, are getting raised by single moms that bounce from one guy to the next. And that's sad. They're not getting a good, strong, masculine figure at the house. Overall, I'm not saying everybody, but I think it's taking its toll on society quite a bit. We're seeing the effects of that. And these women, a lot of them want to be in charge. They say they don't agree that the man rules the house, and they take it to the extreme. Not saying the man should just totally dominate and rule over them either, but well, you get a bad angle here. Yep, Dark Shadow says most women act like special queens, but they aren't. They're just human like the rest of us. Yeah, what I've noticed being 44, you're 100% right. And so what you'll hear a lot is, I believe in God. I'm a Christian. But if, there's Bible verses on that about testing the spirit and stuff like that. So once you actually do and apply that, most times you're going to find they don't know anything about the Bible. They don't know anything about the stories. They don't know anything about the principles. They may know the name Jesus. They don't know any of his teachings. So they don't know any of his teachings. And none of the stories, none of the principles, but they claim they believe in God and Christianity. So the way I view that is like the Bible verse that speaks of Satan being the god of this world and is blind to the minds of the unbelievers. Like, that's how I view it. Even the Bible at one point refers to Satan as the god of this world. So it's kind of how I see that. They're being misled majorly by evil, more demonic spirits, and they don't even realize it. And that's why they're so easily, ever since Adam and Eve, so easily deceived. A lot of them are finding excitement. The more sinful, the better for them. It's like this. I don't know how many times at 44 I've heard them tell me, I like a handyman. I like to work projects. I love watching home garden HGTV. And then when you really get to know them, they could care less about projects. And some of them do. That's not all of them. I'm just talking majority in my experiences. They don't really care about any of this. As long as they got that cell phone bill paid for. And it's starting to happen what I learned about earlier real quick. So I don't know if you can see. Oh, dang. Yeah, there it is. Right there. That's what I warned about the mud getting saturated, so we'll have to fix that. Once I'll keep moving. That's what I was warning about earlier with the backtracking with the roller. It gets wet and wants to rip up this joint compound once it gets saturated. See what you guys said real quick if you're still talking. Huh. I don't know much about WhatsApp. Dark Shadow says drama queens for no reason. You got that right. Well, I guess in their mind, the reason that they've got is they're getting stimulated by it. And if you ever look into narcissism, they're getting their supply. It's like a drug to them, dopamine. They're getting a bit of a high off of that drama, dopamine rush. Especially the ones that don't do drugs and aren't big into alcohol. That's how they're getting their dopamine rushes. Causing drama. So most times you'll hear men are logical and women are emotional. A lot of times I'd agree. They're working off their emotions and what they feel in the moment. That's why they'll leave you and they won't think twice about it. They could care less. Always playing the victim. Constantly play the victim. They'll find an excuse when they realize they're getting bored with you. And then they'll justify it in their mind. So, once again, when I say this stuff, I'm not saying all of them, I'm just saying a majority. And I've met a lot over the years, and it's kind of been the same old song and dance. And they don't really like it when you see through them. They like naive prey that isn't hip to their game. They realize you see through it, they're probably going to move on pretty quick. Find an easier target. It's like a predator picking their prey. Trying to keep up with the angles here. Get some more paint in the pan. Yeah, I really didn't plan to make this channel be like a woman hater vibe, but sometimes when you get on the topic and the way it sounds, just speaking the truth, it is what it is at that point. I would love for them to join in and give them more feminine side of it, but a lot of them don't even want to hear it. They hear that type of stuff and they're going to move on pretty quick. They don't want to acknowledge it. At all. So, this is all looking pretty good, so I just went ahead and hit this wall. I wanted to start the ceiling, but this looks so good over here. Figured it'd be a good time to go ahead and get through it. I'll end up replacing that light switch. Even just the primer looks really good when it's done. Should take it back to the painting topic. It looks so much better once you get a layer of primer, coat of primer on it. Kind of seals it up. Start to see what you're really looking at that point. What gets hid and what doesn't. Everything looks pretty smooth for the most part. It looks like a pretty good job getting it sanded down to this stage. Sometimes it's easier just to grab the shop vac too instead of blowing this around. I think I'll do that now. I've got so much wet paint around me. So, turn that shop vac on for a second and get some of this. Stuff get in your throat, and drywall dust starts getting in the air. Not really stirring up enough that I need a mask. Making pretty decent progress, I'd say. Okay, hey Dark Shadow. Yeah, I'm pretty real, man. I've been through a lot over the years. Mike says, oh, you talk like a real person. Yeah. And Dark Shadow says loads of idiots doing dumb stuff when they get plastered. Yeah, it sucks. It's gotta be like that. I don't even really like going out anymore, man, because I do work out. And, you know, sometimes you run into men, not saying I could just beat anybody's ass, but what I learned over the years, so I did Taekwondo, young years, and then I switched to wrestling and did get in backyard boxing sometimes, but had the strength up and been in quite a few fights over the years. So eventually it gets to where it scares you because people have big egos, and some of these may have grown up with a couple of sisters and they just have a big head on their shoulders and they can't even defend themselves. But in their mind, their masculinity tells them there's something that they're not. And so you find out real quick when you square off with them, they have no experience and you could hurt somebody really quick. And they're not going to own up to the fact that they just got their ass handed to them. They're going to blame you, play the victim. That same Same old playbook again. They're going to, because normally you start getting in fights with bullies, they're probably a little more narcissistic too. So they'll play the victim, especially if you hurt them bad. They'll accuse you of sucker punching them unless there's video footage. So the point is, these people that get plastered, and you go out trying to have a good time, and especially if you're more of a child of God, you could say, or chosen one, they're going to see that light in you, and they're going to probably try to dim it in one way or another. The misery, just sitting back bitter. And so it sucks when you run into that. Try to go out and have a good time with some friends or meet some girls or whatever, and then you got to worry about running into those type of people, and it's a lot of times safer just to play it safe and stay at home. All right, this wall's covered pretty good. Like I said, I don't go real heavy this first coat with the primer because it'll start ripping up this joint compound as it saturates it. So it's saturated in, and when it dries, it's a different ball game. Second coat, if I don't think I'll do a second coat of primer. A lot of this paint nowadays has primer in it, so as I get to the second coat, I can go pretty heavy and not have to worry about it ripping up joint compound and causing me problems. So. Dark Shadow says, if I worried about pleasing everybody, I'd be stressed. Is that a problem? Like, I love being kind. I don't like being a douche. Yeah, that's a delicate balance right there. I feel it 100%. That's tough. I don't know how much you know about narcissism, but it's best if you study that pretty hard. You know what these people's about, especially type A personalities at work. You try to be a good person, kind, helpful, and they think that to them they view it as a weakness, somebody they can exploit and use you for. It's tough to deal with them. A lot of times you gotta pray for your enemy and pray your way through it. Normally it'll work out one way or another. It's like they say, God's ways are not your ways, so I view God like the chess master. So on life, hopefully maybe that helped a little bit. But I've ran into that a lot over the years too. Try to be good. They view it as a weakness, and especially when, like you said, you're no pushover. And try to let it be known, stand up to them, and then they quickly switch roles and play the victim and take offense and try to gaslight you and make you think that they're not doing what they were doing. You know dang well what's going on. Yeah, Mike says most people have to learn it the hard way. It's not easy. Yeah, I was no different. I think YouTube's helped when you start realizing personality traits and ways to maneuver and handle it and seeing the patterns in people. Some of these psychologists are pretty good, but I'd be careful on the psychologist too, because I still stick to the spiritual side. So it doesn't always have a clinical fix. Naked Attraction, good to see you. Thanks for stopping in. Ask what happened. A lot of things. Life, just covering a lot of topics. Mainly on the topic right now, people taking advantage of people that try to be good-hearted and kind, good, kind souls, and that those evil spirits always trying to dim the light. That's about what happened. So, and other than that, I'm putting some primer on some walls. Dark Shadow says, I know about that type of stuff. I have people around being rude. I have no time for them. I got better stuff to do. Yeah, you're right. Don't let them be an energy vampire. Some of them try to siphon your energy. It could be family, friends, coworkers, girlfriend, boyfriend. Comes in a lot of different forms. And like I say, I view it more spiritual attack. Spiritual warfare. Pray. Ask God for guidance to navigate through and continue to be a beacon of light, positive for people. But you're 100% right. Especially at work, I notice a lot. If you're in a job where it's more physical or different task, they like to try to use people up if they think they can, especially females. They notice, but that's on the men too for being so freaking weak. A lot of them guys will just kind of bend over backward. They're even married, but they'll go into work acting like they have a relationship with these women at work and wanting to score points and basically treat them like they're his girlfriend even though they're not. It's pretty pathetic, really. Do stuff for these women that they wouldn't do to help a fellow brother out. And the women kind of act like they don't see it because it's benefiting them, so why would they? It makes their day easier, especially on a more physical job. They can go into work and the guy lightens the load for them. And I'm having a hard time getting this light the way I want. Because normally it's not so bad, but when I'm trying to position the camera with it, that's what I got going on. Well, the shadow's a problem too. You can't see when that shadow is blocking stuff. It's been nice talking with you guys. Kind of livened up my, normally I'll put some music on or I'll put music on or some motivationals and go in the zone doing these workouts. I bet if I was by myself, I'd probably, I'm not live streaming right now, I'd be through the majority of this room already. I'd go at it pretty hard and get it done and over. And then I like to go back with the little mini roller and make sure to thin out all this little corner stuff. It's pretty important to use a good quality of paint too when you get into the next layers and start putting actual paint on that you want. So. Let me scan up a little bit. Looks like I missed some comments. Mike says, learned it both ways. Dark Shadow, I love you all. I hope you guys do have a good rest of your day. Thanks, Dark Shadow. If you end up taking off, I appreciate it. Being single and a rich man. I swear they always around me when I'm in the living room like I can't just relax. I don't want kids till I'm old. Yeah, that's tough too, man. You don't want to wait till you're too old. But it could be a good thing too. I've thought about that, like kids having kids, basically some of these 18 and 20 year olds that didn't have a good coaching in life, they're figuring out stuff themselves, and by the time they figure it out, their kids get raised, and instead of being a little bit further along, like a 30 or 40-year-old having a kid, if they even can still at that age, but they should be able to. But you know, it's like in sports or being able to teach more discipline or just having a better strategy of life. Like I talked about gatekeepers earlier, you're able to coach them up a lot better. You're wiser yourself. Instead of being so fresh out of high school, having kids, some of them in high school. All this looks pretty good. I'm lucky here, so I'm going to keep rolling on the primer up top. I'm really happy to be in this stage. Some people hate painting. This is probably the easiest stage so far between all the scraping I did, fixing cracks, carving them out. It's almost like how perfect do you want it to be? Kind of gotta balance it with this stuff, because bring it up here. Gotta balance it because you can spend months in here trying to get it Taj Mahal style and perfect. But should come out pretty good. And even in the end, after 2 or 3 coats of paint between the primer and a coat or 2 of the final paint, you'll know in the end if something needs touched up and fix it from there. See again, that shadow's working against me. Yeah, if you take off light and dark shadow, hope you have a good one. I don't know how long I'll go with this. I'll go for a while and then go get cleaned up. I may get back on live stream later in a couple hours and get on my weight set and talk to people. So I think I'll keep moving because this ceiling's looking pretty good. Later on, Mike. Have a good one. All right, sounds good. Yeah, and you too, Dark Shadow, if you're still on. It'd be better to see you guys actually pay more attention to the comments and talk a little bit better. Have a better conversation while I'm not multitasking so heavy with this painting. I gotta keep moving too. I can't really keep stopping when it's saturated in the mud. And dry mud. Hey Mike, welcome back already, man. Like Dark Shadow bailed out, so let's see if he stops back in later when I'm on my weight set. And just rolling away right now, pretty basic. You ever done any painting, Mike? Yep, yeah, we must be in the same time zone. That's about the same time for me. Eastern time zone. Yeah, so I don't know how long I'll end up painting. I at least want to get the ceiling done and get through it. That way next time I paint, just all keeping it all eye level and lower for the video too. If I come back online, it's a little awkward to work on the ceiling above my head. Luckily I'm taller. Live streaming and talking, engaging, work above my head like this. I don't think I'll be adding any movies in my OBS anymore. They copyrighted me for that last night, so I gotta be careful on that. It soaks up a lot of paint too on this mud, so if you ever end up in a project like this, make sure you get plenty of paint. I've got about 4 gallons of primer, and I would guess it'll use most of it. Maybe. Yeah, I don't mind having a little extra to put back anyway, so. Give it a nice strong covering. Okay. I gotta be careful. I've got a wet spot of mud I patched up earlier. I'm right at it. Yeah, I think Dark Shadow took off, Mike. Said he might be back in a little bit. I've only been live streaming for I think 4 days, so I don't get a lot of traffic. I don't get a lot of traffic stopping in. I don't think most people even really know about me yet, and this is a boring task for a lot of people. A lot of people hate painting and they don't care to stop. They'll be swiping and scanning through these live stream shorts and they'll just keep moving. I can't say I blame them. And a lot of people know how to paint, so then they try to watch something they already know how to do. You ever done much painting, Mike? Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah, I think it was a he. But you could be right. Never really specified, but he didn't say much when I was talking about the female issues. I'm so happy to be getting this primer on the walls. The way I feel inside don't match up to what you see on the camera. I'm pretty excited about this stage. Well, thank you, Jay. Actually, I did miss a spot on purpose. If you're still on here, I'll show you real quick. So, if you're being serious, I'm staying away from right there, that circle, because I had two spots that still have wet mud. I'll have to sand that and hit that in the next day or two. I don't think I'll get through this whole room tonight. It's slipping away, but thanks for stopping in, Jay. Feel free to subscribe. But yeah, I'll keep moving here with the primer. I'm going through this paint like crazy. All that different joint compound up there, it soaks it up so quick on the primer stage. I'm just happy some people stopped in, got to talking. All that. There's 1 gallon of primer gone already, and that's off of one wall and half the ceiling. So it's soaking it up. Actually, it was about 2/3 of a gallon. I already had that gallon. I think I'll use up this paint and call it a day. Go get cleaned up and jump on the weight set a little bit later. I still have to clean the brush up and stuff when I'm done. Not too worried about this light fixture. I mean, I'll paint around it the best I can, but I'm going to replace this once the walls are painted and go over to Lowe's or Menards and try to find a good light fixture to put up here. So, let me get it close. Don't worry about that down the road. So you'll leave a lot of brush streaks, and that's why I like to come back with that little mini roller to work out all these streaks around this. I just don't like the look of it when you start getting all those streaks, paintbrush streaks. This helps work it out. Better look when it dries. Extra work, but it don't take but a minute or two. Back to the rolling. Yeah, it's my home. Have plaster walls. It's an old 1920 brick home, so I've been repairing the plaster walls. This room started back in July. I'll do a video. I'm documenting everything I've done, so it looks horrible. I had to scrape all the walls down, scrape the walls, carve out a lot of cracks. There's cracks all over the plaster. So I chamfered those out and filled those in with Durabond, and then used the mesh tape over the cracks, paper tape. All the corners needed carved out. So I had to pre-fill all the corners. And then joint compound. So then there were 3 stages of joint compound I did, 3 layers. I did the all-purpose joint compound, followed by the +3, and then the topping mud. And then I had to sand everything, so now I'm getting into the primering, which is walk in the park compared to all those other stages. Even though I've been stopping and talking, I've gotten a lot done that I'm happy with tonight. So a couple of imperfections I don't like. I'm going to try to do that out of there. Painted over one already, so I'll have to do that later if I want to fix it. If you're just stopping in or on YouTube scrolling through the shorts, thanks for scrolling through. Feel free to subscribe. kind of busy at the moment. All of this paint on the ceiling, so can't engage as much like I want to. Still new to YouTube live streaming. Still on my first week. Plaster wall repairs going on. I'm into the painting stages. Primer. So it's a good stage to get into compared to the others. It always helps to get some good paint too when you get past the primer stage. I prefer Benjamin Moore. Dad always liked Benjamin Moore. He's done a lot of painting. And I haven't had any complaints either. I know everybody's got their preference. Personally, just personal experience. Benjamin Moore's never done me wrong. Pretty good paint. What do you like to do for fun, Mike? I see you still in the comments. What kind of stuff are you into? I'll check here in a minute, see if you wrote back. I don't really want to be the type that gets on there and just talks about myself. I've been on channels before and we'll ask you a question and they don't even check the comments. It's kind of all about themselves and their live stream and just their strategy. Okay, Jay says I decided to take a lazy day and make my first brisket. I've had 3 hours sleep and trying to wake up. Yeah, that was me earlier. I took a nap this afternoon. I went and worked out this morning and I took that nap and I had to force myself to get in here and get started. How'd that brisket turn out? You learn any helpful tips? I've never made a brisket, so you're doing better than me on that. I like brisket, but I don't know how'd you cook your brisket? Is that something you smoke or how'd you do yours? Boy, a lot of it's looking pretty good. One thing I'd warn you, if you ever get in this type of work, when you get on YouTube and start studying drywalling, a lot of the imperfections you can't see on the camera. So they'll buzz through those videos really quick. And they could be misleading because you can't tell just how good their work is. A lot of the angle, especially on a white wall, it's hard to gauge just how good of a job they really did getting stuff pretty smooth. Like this could have different lines and lift-offs they call it. It could have a lot of that and you wouldn't know from that camera angle, but I always try to be a bit of a perfectionist. And if I screw something up, I try to learn from it and not let it happen again. Off smoker turned out good. Good to hear it. How long did that take? I like some good brisket. Some guys at work have brought some in before and it was so good. keep moving. I think with the way my paint pan's looking, between the paint pan and the ceiling, I think I'll be done once man, that light's kind of blinding. Find a good angle. Oh, that light. Maybe if I over here turn it away from the light so man, freaking light. There. Getting across. I gotta reposition some stuff. Got a few things on this side of the room. 12-hour cooking time, 6 hours rest. Yeah, I wondered about the resting. I thought I'd heard people say they didn't rest it long enough and stuff like that. I've heard them say they butchered it and botched it, I should say. Yeah, so I need to move some stuff. I've got a table on this side of the room. I'm going to get it out of my way. Yeah, I bet you're excited to try out that brisket. Doesn't sound like you got much sleep. It's kind of been me lately too. I've been getting it how I can get it lately. Hopefully you get better rest on your next attempt. I don't know what type of schedule you're on, so hopefully you can get some better sleep. It sucks to be deprived of sleep. There we go. That's better. And I appreciate you stopping in, Jay. Mike and Dark Shadow were pretty cool too. I don't know if you subscribe, feel free. I'd appreciate it for one, and that way easier to talk sometimes on different projects. This is kind of one of them things I'm just trying to get through it above my head. Probably not the most exciting live stream going right now, that's for sure. I know some of them. I like watching Kevin Yellow sometimes. He's pretty entertaining. Some of those guys that work out, pretty impressive. Yo, Mike, what's up? What are you into today, Mike? Just chilling out, relaxing? You a football fan, Mike? Like to watch football? I'm a Bengals and Buckeye fan. Buckeyes did awesome last night. Bengals were getting stomped again earlier. I knew right when I saw 14-0, I made the right move to come up here and get on this painting. I may not make it across the whole ceiling. It's crazy how much paint this joint compound soaks up. But I'm loving it. This is nothing like scraping that plaster paint, carving out them freaking cracks. And, oh man, that was rough. Breathing that stuff in, and smelling it, and tasting it everywhere you freaking go. And they say some of that plaster's got asbestos in it, so that makes you uncomfortable working with it. Didn't miss much, Mike. I was asking if you watch football or what you're into today. That was about it. Other than that, I'm wrapping it up. I'm about out of paint in this pan. That's going to be my stopping point for today. So, if you have any questions or anything, or stop back in later, if you have any questions now, I can get them out there, and I'll be pretty quick to wrap this up when I'm done. I need to clean my paintbrush up, and Dave's slipping away. I'll clean my paintbrush. I'll just put these rollers in a plastic shopping bag until tomorrow. I'll come back at it. We'll be all right overnight, and you bag them off. Hard on the shoulder too. I think those people do this for a living. They're probably wearing a cartilage out in their shoulder. I already have shoulder issues myself, so this don't help. Yeah. I'm 44, Mike. Hey, Titus, good to see you again. Yeah, Ronaldo, he's pretty impressive. I don't watch that style of football. I'm in the U.S., so I watch more American football. Kills on filler because it soaks up paint so bad. It's probably a great idea. It's something I should have looked into, more of a filler. I'll grab what I've got. So I just use this, the 1-2-3 primer, and I bought plenty, so I don't think I'm going to come up short. I've still got 3 gallons, and that's good for me because then I can have to put back whatever I don't use for the next project. Yeah, I'll have to look into that. Thanks for the suggestion. I like to learn, find better ways and techniques, so this isn't a know-it-all tutorial. I like to learn, so thank you, Jay. I'll look into the kills filler. There is slight imperfections on this joint compound I'm trying to sand out as I go. I sanded it pretty good and looked over the walls with the light, but I didn't get every single, I mean, it's not perfect, so there's a type of filler that works better than this primer. That's a good suggestion. I haven't bought kilts in a long time. I asked the guy at Ace Hardware what he would recommend. He's worked in paint for a lot of years, and he recommended that 1-2-3 bullseye stuff. So I went with his recommendation. Yeah, this pan's about out for the night, so. How you been, Titus? If you're still in here, it's good to see you back. Hopefully you had a good weekend. I'd say 2 more dips in the pan. That's about the best I'm gonna get. Maybe 1 more after this one, then I'm done. Paint for the night. This little door frame is going to get ripped out and put a whole new wood door frame in, new door, and stain it, and polyurethane it, or something like that. So it'll look pretty good down the road, but just gotta keep chipping away at it, one step at a time. Yeah, this is it here. There's nothing left in the pan. I'm just getting what last little bit I can, and that's it for this. Pretty easy. That's about it. There's some more touch-up spots here. After this. I've made sure to vacuum and use an air gun on this ledge up here. You don't want a bunch of debris up in there. So I'll use that little mini roller now, get rid of those streaks. And I don't care about getting paint on this door frame because I'm going to paint it too until it gets ripped out. I'm not really into the paint streak look, so working them out. Well, I know tomorrow when I come back at it, I'll start at the wall and come a foot or 2 over and redo this. Won't hurt if you get some more. Well, that's that for the evening. Well, nobody's in here. It's a good time for me to bail out. So, yeah, I'll be back a little bit later. It says 0 viewers, so I'm out of here.